Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Chapter 26. We Don't Understand. Now Luyu can be described as a knife in a child. Even if he suppresses his strength within his peers, he is also a ferocious one. Although up to now, he still can't understand the true mystery of Yanluo's sword intent, but just constantly contacting that huge group of sword intent has made Luyu's kendo advance by leaps and bounds. Coupled with that powerful Reiatsu control ability, Luyu's flat cut is the ultimate move for the average Shinigami. Can't stop it, can't prevent it, can't cut it, it's very helpless. Tsunayashiro's valuables have no flaws in all aspects, and are the best among the 6 rebirths. But it didn't stop Luyu's extremely sharp knife. The characteristic of the Shinigami world is that there is a huge gap in strength, and the high-level ones completely crush the low-level ones, just like beating grandsons. This is true whether it is the rolling-on Reiatsu or the rolling-on technical ability. Just like Aizen during the war with Kamen Legion, you can kill in seconds with just one knife. Are you a captain, and what is the mystery of Zanpakuto's ability? Is it really important? He simply solved Tsunayashiro's valuables neatly, and Luyu didn't have much sense of accomplishment in his heart. This kind of thing has never been seen in his eyes. The moment you choose to be your enemy, your opponent's fate is already determined. Even, Luyu disliked the other party for being too weak, and he only had so much enthusiasm in the practice of Yanluo's secret book, so that he could not learn well. Even after crossing the border, Luyu is still a good boy who believes in science and loves students. Originally, he thought that Tsunayashiro Masao's portable sword intent equipment was standard. After all, there are members of a branch house, how can there be no outstanding children of the main family? Therefore, during the battle, Luyu also deliberately gave the opponent room to perform. But I didn't expect that this Tsunayashiro treasure had nothing but an empty sword move, and was just an ordinary 6-year-old genius. Luyu has a faint guess in his heart. It seems that the source of the spiritual weapon of Tsunayashiro Masao is not legitimate. So, this guy didn't make things bigger after he was injured. Tsunayashiro Time Beach. Thinking of that vicious man, Luyu knew it. This may involve factional battles within the great nobles, considering the phrase, chaos as a ladder. A certain ambitious four-eyed boy must have contributed a lot to it. Since Yoruichi's mutiny, several nobles have suffered. It may be a coincidence, or it may just be because the other party has what the big boss wants, Aizen. Luyu didn't care about the open and secret struggles of these big families. He cares about how much he can benefit from it. The secret of Judian Jingu is related to his immortal cause, and he must not give up. Since the other party didn't have what he wanted, Luyu just made a quick decision. In the original, Shinigami, Aizen Sosuke, one of the final bosses, has long been eyeing Hinamori Momo, Abarai Renji and others. With such a high-profile performance, it is impossible for the other party to not pay attention. Maybe he and the squinting vice-captain will use a crystal ball to peep at him now. Luyu, that's great. You're amazing. Hinamori Momo held Luyu's hand and jumped, indicating that this shunpo, this beheading technique, was enough for her to learn for a lifetime. It's just the beginning, nothing. Luyu, who was holding the little girl's soft hand, smiled lightly. When Hinamori Momo chirped and expressed his joy and admiration, the 6 reincarnations who peeked in the distance looked at each other and couldn't help but begin to doubt life. Is it true what they just saw? Not dreaming. For the famous genius Tsunayashiro, these 6 reincarnations naturally understand. Although Tsunayashiro has a very high self-esteem and is accustomed to looking at people with his nostrils, but the strength is not enough, the name of genius is worthy of the name. He stands out among his classmates, and has long had the strength of an official Shinigami. The reason why I haven't graduated early is because I want to surpass the genius of the Shiba family and have a higher starting point after graduation. In recent years, the Tsunayashiro family and the Shiba family have always had a strong smell of gunpowder. It's just that the 2 geniuses of Shiba's family were sidelined for a while, and it didn't make a big fuss. To surpass such a genius, Tsunayashiro's ambition can be imagined. Such a ruthless character turned out to be unable to stop the rebirth of a knife. Isn't it funny that Shiba Kaien who still wants to surpass Shiba's family who can't even beat a single one? All the 6 rebirths were stunned and horrified. Even if this rebirth is really a dragon crossing the river, and it is extremely fierce, the 2 sides should fight for dozens of rounds before the winner can be determined. Although this is still very incredible, but it is still within the scope of understanding. What the hell is this direct knife second? Are you sure that this reincarnation is not a disguise of the chairman? What kind of talent can do this? How far can a guy with such talent grow in the future? Officer, Vice Captain, still, could it be that this kid will be the future captain? I thought that Luyu would be crushed into pieces without a doubt under the general strife of the Tsunayashiro family, but now they are not sure. In the 5th Division team building, two figures were looking at the number 20 practice ground of Spiritual Arts Academy through surveillance equipment similar to the Technical Development Bureau. The two watched the entire battle just now, and they didn't miss anything. Silver, what do you think? What else can you look at? Captain Aizen, of course, his eyes widened. What a scary newcomer, so scary. Even though he said that, Ichimaru-jin squinted his eyes with a smirk. Aizen said calmly, not only strength, but also behavior patterns, it's very interesting, Yin. Although this kid has a solid foundation, he doesn't need to be particularly concerned, right? Does Captain Aizen look down on him too much? Squinting, Ichimaru-jin laughed wickedly, what seemed to be not a laugh but the hiss of lion majesty. In short, this smile will not make people feel at ease, it will only make people feel creepy. Ordinary people can't guess what Ichimaru-jin is thinking from his laughter and expression. For his own subordinates, even those who are a little rebellious, Aizen Sosuke will persuade him well and explain patiently. If there is someone who can make him angry, Aizen will be happy. Of course, when it was time to stab his own people, Aizen would never be soft-hearted. Aizen chuckled lightly. Silver, such a reckless judgment is not something you can say. The goods on the front row of the shelves look the most delicious, but you have to taste them to know what they really are. Like those nobles, the outside is bright and beautiful, who would have thought that the inside is so rotten and ugly? Captain Aizen means that this kid is hiding his strength. For a while, Ichimaru-jin was a little curious. He was really a little confused. If this kid has any secrets that he can't see, he shouldn't be so high profile, and he shouldn't offend the 5 nobles. However, Ichimaru-jin is no ordinary Shinigami. Although he acted like he didn't know anything, deep down he couldn't help but express his own judgment. Ichimaru-jin was keenly aware that this rebirth named Luyu was not easy when he was in the pot of tea before, and that feeling could not be wrong. This kid actually has the same temperament as his own captain, who is like a fairy and a demon. At the time, he just thought it was an illusion, and there was no way a monster like Aizen would appear second. But after hearing what Aizen said, Ichimaru-jin is hard to say. Chapter 27. Because of Aizen's reminder, Ichimaru-jin was also a little suspicious that Luyu might really be hiding some secrets. It's just that there is no doubt in the inside, there is no flaw in his expression and words. If you can't hide your true thoughts, the decision to assassinate Aizen is a joke. Aizen didn't care about his vice captain's thoughts and explained. The weak cannot survive without the environment. They either hold a group to keep warm, or they depend on the strong. The first district of Runjunrinin has always been sheltered by nobles and is the place with the best security. Under such circumstances, why is he showing no mercy to nobles? What kind of hatred can't be resolved in 100 years? Why would he be deviated from his own laws of existence? For a moment, Ichimaru-jin thought of the sky-high beam of light that day, squinted his eyes and smiled evilly. It seems that Captain Aizen has a competitor. In Seraiti, if you want to survive, you must submit to the nobles, and joining Gote 13 is also an act of attachment. The other party is a smart person and has lived in the district for so long, he will not fail to understand this truth. This Luyu acted like this, and was not afraid to offend the nobles at all, and he must have something to rely on. And this reliance is likely to have something to do with the captain-level Reiatsu who passed away half a month ago. Aizen with a gentle expression didn't care, and said softly, no matter what, he has his own fetters, so he has a weakness. Like I said, the vast majority of people need companions. The nobles of Seraiti are connected by blood, and the people of Rukongai will meet the destined one. Having said that, he glanced at his vice-captain with meaningful eyes and said, Yin, have you met the destined person? Ichimaru-jin bowed and said, my thoughts are not unimportant, everything is based on your will. Aizen chuckled lightly and didn't say anything more. He thought to himself, Yin, do you know that avoiding and not answering is also an answer? Compared with fate, I believe that man is destined to conquer the sky. After all, the empty throne in the sky has been lonely for too long. The two did not continue to chat on this topic. But in my heart, everyone has their own ideas, and at the same time, they tacitly chose to continue to monitor Luyu closely. The news that Luyu defeated the sixth-born genius Tsunayashiro with one sword spread throughout the entire Spiritual Arts Academy in a short time. Abarai Renji, who is practicing hard, laughed and said, "Luyu, you really did it, and I can't fall behind." He must have made up his mind now. No matter what, he wants to be Shinigami, and then surpass that man and his cowardly self in the past. Even if a noble gets in his way, he will not back down. Thinking of this, Abarai Renji gripped the sealed state in his hand harder and harder, as if he was gripping the whole world. Hearing this news, Hitsugaya Toshiro breathed a sigh of relief and smiled slightly, and his sapphire blue eyes showed excitement, yearning, and admiration. At the same time, the gloomy Tsunayashiro Masao in the hospital once again came to a low point in his life. He thought that being defeated by a pariah was the lowest point in his life. The result is not. The depressed Tsunayashiro Masao didn't wait for the good news that Luyu was being punished. Instead, he waited for the master genius who was severely taught by Luyu. This person is his cousin, and the two are not very close. They can only be said to be nodding acquaintances, but because they are connected by blood, they are natural allies. Then, in the mouths of Yoshikawa and Kondo, Tsunayashiro Masao knew of Luyu's feat. In the hospital, he was secretly sad and didn't think about tea and rice, but his enemy, Luyu, had a bright future, and his momentum was getting stronger and stronger. This made him very jealous and angry, and he hated Luyu even more. Originally, Tsunayashiro Masao thought that he and the new patient should be like-minded companions and could form an Avengers alliance or something. As a result, the injury was not minor, but the worst was Tsunayashiro, who did not lose the ability to speak. After waking up, he first cursed Luyu desperately, claiming that he would be crushed to ashes after the injury was healed. After scolding, Tsunayashiro nobles scolded him with a slap in the face. "If you hadn't lost to that damn bastard, I wouldn't have been implicated by you. It's all because of your incompetence that the reputation of my family and me has been damaged. You kill yourself, Tsunayashiro Masao. It is impossible to commit suicide, it is impossible in this life. It's just that Tsunayashiro Masao feels very wronged. This is really a disaster. He doesn't want to lose either. After taking the road, Tsunayashiro Masao's life is like the rising sun, with infinite light. After meeting Luyu, it is like a bungee jumping that will not end, only falling." In his heart, Tsunayashiro Masao was very disapproving of this master genius who scolded him. "You are also arrogant to your own people. If you have the ability, don't lose. You still haven't won, you don't have the strength. After all, I fought back and forth, and you got hit in seconds. Is this Luyu really a monster?" Thinking about it, Tsunayashiro Masao felt a burst of despair and confusion in his heart. Why does a mere pariah have such talent? It's not fair. Luyu's record this time was a bit scary. He directly overturned the official Shinigami within 10 days of entering school. The captain was not necessarily so fierce when he was young. It seems that the children of the great nobles who have been trained since childhood do not have such terrifying talents. I didn't know that. I thought I was writing a story. This time, news spread not only throughout the Spiritual Arts Academy, but throughout Seraiti. Even the captains of the major squads have heard a little about it. Involving the official Shinigami and the 5 nobles is enough for the captains of each family to pay attention. Among them, the official Shinigami in the Tsunayashiro family has a new idea, and the Shiba family, who has always been hostile to the Tsunayashiro family, is preparing to take action. Ahahaha, a bunch of bastards, dumbfounded. Obsessed with fireworks cannons and avant-garde art, Shiba Sokaku laughed and his chest was choppy. After laughing, she picked up the dry tobacco and took a sip, and said to herself, "This kid named Luyu is very nice, you can get to know him when you have time." In the secret team building of the 2nd Division, the increasingly small and exquisite Broken Bee was set off, and glared at the vice captain who was eating frantically. "Omeda, your weight has increased again." Even if he was rejected by the terrifying captain, the rich and willful Omeda still didn't care, and said nonsense to himself. "Captain, I think so. You are a little shallow in my judgment. You only see my exterior, not my inner soul. I assure you that my ability to work will not be affected by weight." Omaeda, are still professional, astute, hardworking, and never wrong. Quote. Really? Broken B said with a sneer, then can you tell me why a freshman from the Western District 1 has an official Shinigami level? Because he's a genius, Omaeda asked tentatively as he put down his snacks. Why are my subordinates full of idiots? Broken B put her hand on her forehead. Immediately, she pointed her right hand in the direction of the door, and her small body burst out with astonishing momentum, and said loudly, check it out for me, and keep digging. I want to know everything about him, who he met, what he said, and what he had for breakfast. Let me find out all of these. Chapter 28. In the evening, afternoon Yoruichi, Luyu started today's check-in with a little anticipation. I want to punch in the system. Congratulations to the host on the 15th day of checking in successfully, and rewarding the blue E-grade booklet with a rose-colored path. Ding. It is detected that the connection between the host and the plot characters is deepened, and the reward level is increased. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the blue B-level book, Acedo's Mushroom Manual. What the hell is this? Mushroom Handbook. Does this make me grow mushrooms? That mushroom. Taking a closer look, Luyu realized that it was different from the mushroom he imagined. This turned out to be the diary of that Haweko Mundo hacking the king, Acedo, the unparalleled man who hacked to death and many Manos Grande by himself in the forest of Manos Grande. This powerful one can kill Ijuka's class Manos Grande while surrounded by Manos Grande without using Bankai. In addition to chopping the virtual world every day, I just sleep and grow mushrooms. I don't know how many years have passed in such a world of virtual reality. What a cruel man. The strength and will are all full. Acedo is a true Shinigami who fought for his faith and deserves admiration. But no matter how fierce this person is, he is only a book about growing mushrooms. Can I still go to work as a farmer? After thinking about it, Luyu felt that if this was just an ordinary book about growing mushrooms, it would not be at this level. So there must be something else in this book. Anyway, idle is idle. As a Reiatsu's abundant spiritual body, you don't need to sleep so much, just read books and study. After reading this book, Luyu understands why this is a B grade. Because this is really a complete process of growing mushrooms, and even how to obtain fertilizer is clearly explained. The fertilizer in Haweko Mundo is naturally empty. So this is equivalent to an encyclopedia of Haweko Mundo plus advanced guidance for the 4 major lines of Shinigami. Asador is an absolute expert when it comes to slashing fists and ghosts. It's not that kind of flower stand, it's all cut out. And it's just an introduction to the virtual. For Luyu, it's worthy of a B-level evaluation. Fu and Shinigami fight very differently, and there are also different points to pay attention to when fighting with the two. Acedo's use of chopping and Kido for various Manos Grande makes Luyu refreshing, and it turns out that Kido and chopping can still be used in this way. Although the experience of beheading is very simple, it really has a feeling of returning to the original, and the more you understand it, the more interesting it becomes. Combined with the Yanluo secret code that Luyu is analyzing with Senluo Vientian, it will definitely make his kendo a step further. Moreover, this increase in the reward level has allowed Luyu to figure out some of the rules of the Super Punch-In system. It seems that strengthening the bond with the plot characters can increase the reward level. However, Spiritual Arts Academy is almost done. Time to change the map. For the future plan, Luyu already has a clear plan. In fact, just copy it according to the Captain Aizen. The best way to succeed is to imitate the winner, but he will take a smarter, gentler approach. After World War I, Luyu became a celebrity at the Spiritual Arts Academy. In the Kendo class and Kido class that followed, he showed a performance that surpassed full marks. Therefore, Luyu gained a great deal of autonomy, which is basically equivalent to the treatment of the 6th reincarnation. Taking advantage of this time, Luyu took advantage of all the points in Acedo's Mushroom Handbook for his own use. Whether it's Kendo, Kido or Shunpo and White Hits, he's come a long way. Acedo's 4 skills for Shinigami have reached a level of mastery, and he is one step away from touching the edge of Aizen's realm. Any kind of Shinigami skills of the current Luyu Grandmaster, just this one, is already comparable to the Vice Captain level Shinigami. At the same time, he has a sufficient understanding of all kinds of Manos Grande, and also simulated the corresponding coping methods in his mind. The fly in the ointment is that Luyu didn't find any good things in the next time, they were all ordinary things in white, blue, and green. Blue E rank rewards basic spear skills. Green D rank rewards hunger watermelon hat. Since ancient times, spearmen are lucky E, spear skills cannot be dealt with. I can't wear the green hat, it hurts. Luyu, who has 3 golden abilities, does not despise the rewards below B rank at all. These rewards are generally difficult to improve his strength. Just when Luyu thought he had almost figured out all the laws of the super punch-in system, the punch-in system had a new change. Ding! Host has successfully clocked in 30 times, and the fixed point check-in function has been activated. The next check-in location is the present Karakura town, and after the check-in, you will be rewarded with the perfect shikai. Seeing this reward, Luyu's eyes lit up. Generally, as long as you know the name of Zanpakuto and Reiatsu of sufficient strength, you can perform a complete shikai. But if you intentionally call Zanpakuto by the wrong name, like Yasugawa Yumichika from the 11th Division, you will get an incomplete shikai. At the same time, if the proficiency is not enough, even shikai and bankai cannot fully exert the power of Zanpakuto. As Dabai Byakuya Kuchiki said, the ultimate big move like bankai takes Shinigami 100 years to become a perfect master. For example, in the future, Abarai Renji only used a few days to awaken bankai, but it was very awkward to use and could not hit anyone at all. The perfect shikai rewarded by the punch-in system is a little different from the perfect master. The perfect shikai provided by the system is based on the original shikai, breaking its original bottleneck and obtaining an evolution beyond the limit. This is even better than Hogyoku. You know, Hogyoku seems to only be able to complete evolution within boundaries. If the person using Hogyoku doesn't have that kind of evolutionary possibility, Hogyoku can't be completely out of nothing. Suddenly, Luyu's eyes lit up, and he thought excitedly, there are all kinds of things beyond the limit of evolution, plus the mysterious Yan Luo sword intent, this is the perfect combination. As long as he achieves all the perfect shikai that Shinigami can't do, he will definitely be able to fully penetrate the mystery of Yan Luo's sword intent. The road to immortality is at hand. Luyu clenched his fists and decided to go to Karakura town in this world as soon as possible for a fixed point check-in. As for the way, someone has already prepared it for him. The monthly exam is coming soon, how are you preparing? Very bad, not prepared at all. What's the matter with the preparation? You still want to defeat Luyu? It seems that we can only fight for second place, hey. In the special class, a group of young students are worried about the upcoming first monthly exam. They talked a lot, and 8 out of 10 sentences were related to Luyu. It is a good thing and a bad thing to have such a monster-like genius as a classmate. A good thing is to have faith and confidence in your heart, so what about the nobles? What about the seniors? It's not that I was beaten by my classmates and didn't dare to speak. Moreover, maybe in the future, I will be able to hold a big thick leg, and then I will send it. Generally, after becoming a captain, the new captain will promote his own people. A word from others can decide the fate of the rest of your life. There are also bad things, that is, there is basically no chance for him to make a name for himself, and anyone and any genius will be eclipsed in front of Luyu. In short, in the special class, even if Luyu doesn't appear much, he is still the absolute center, the most dazzling star. Chapter 29. Thinking of Luyu's amazing record, several students in the special class couldn't help but yearn for it. I defeated the official Shinigami within 10 days of school, I'm afraid it's not the level of a chairperson. Maybe before we graduate, Luyu will be the captain. You said that Luyu will promote himself when he becomes the captain in the future, so will I have a chance to be the vice captain? Don't think about it, the vice captain must be from Hinamori or Hitsugaya Toshiro. The orange-haired girl who spoke snorted in the direction of Hinamori Momo. Hearing this, Hinamori Momo, who was looking down at the book, blushed, then raised his head and glared at Hitsugaya Toshiro. What do you mean by me? I have to be the captain, how can I be the vice captain for Luyu? The little boy Hitsugaya Toshiro felt puzzled. Is this still the same Hinamori Momo as my sister? Little Peach, you have changed. Soon, the exams for the special class began. This monthly exam has received attention from all quarters. After all, the major squads and the private armies of the nobles are always short of people. If you don't start early, You won't be able to grab the newly grown chives, so these people will naturally look at the quality of this year's new tea first. Of course, the one who gets the most attention is Luyu, a genius who has made a name for himself recently. 10 days after entering the school, he learned the 4 major skills and possessed the strength close to that of an officer. Reiatsu's strength and control are even more amazing, visible to the naked eye. With such a talent, even Ichimaru Jin, who graduated that year, seems to be slightly inferior. Now that Ichimaru Jin is the vice captain, he will become a captain-level big man if nothing else happens. So, what is the future of Luyu, who is more talented than Ichimaru Jin? As long as this talent is not a flash in the pan, the chairman is just the starting point, the captain is almost inevitable, and even the legendary first team is not impossible. Of course, only a few people know about Team Zero. The focus of the monthly test is naturally actual combat. Shinigami is to kill Shu, to protect the interests of the nobles, and to fight. The only measure of Shinigami's strength is strength. Other literary exams are just for reference. Even if you write flowers, it is useless. The configuration of Seraiti is still not good, there is no position of ideological instructor. It's a pity for those liberal arts leaders. Under the secret observation of many people, the actual combat assessment began. The first is the actual combat test against the examiner. Considering the difference in strength, students are allowed to use the sealed state, and the examiner only uses a wooden knife. There is nothing to say about other students' actual combat assessment. A few examiners will solve it by dividing by 2, and by the way, they will give some pointers. For other students, this is an assessment, and it is also a rare practical opportunity. The performances of Abarai Renji and Hitsugaya Toshiro are remarkable. The former is good in kendo and vigorous, while the latter Reiatsu is very strong and has outstanding talent. Of course, the most surprising thing is Hinamori, who not only showed a very superior Kido talent, but also greatly improved his swordsmanship. Compared to when he entered school, he was completely different. Although the battle is not as oppressive as Abarai Renji, but the rhythm is very strong, revealing a unique beauty and peculiar rhythm. In this regard, all the students expressed their envy, and Professor Luyu's name became more famous. As the star of hope, Luyu was placed in the finale, and he was the last one to participate in the actual combat assessment. The person in charge of the assessment is the old acquaintance teacher Shokin. If you use this again, you will be deceiving yourself. Without holding the teacher's shelf, Shengshin Shokin threw away the wooden knife in his hand and pulled out the sealed state from his waist. Obviously, he was going to get serious. As a former chairperson, Shokin knew exactly what this state meant. He actually didn't quite believe that Luyu had reached this level. But the strength Luyu showed before was enough for him to take it seriously. Fight, fight, fight. The other students are young people who watch the fun and don't think it's a big deal. Naturally, they are looking forward to the battle with real swords and guns. One by one stared at each other, waiting for the good show to start. Can Luyu win? I don't think so. Mr. Shokin was the chairman of the 10th division before he retired. Luyu didn't kill Tsunayashiro's treasure in 1 second. There is no reason to lose. Several people insisted on their own words, and their faces were red and their necks were thick, and they almost started fighting. Abarai Renji, as the number 1, Lu Kui, very seriously refutes any remarks that are not optimistic about Luyu. Should win, right. Hitsugaya Toshiro wasn't too sure, but he wasn't involved in the debate. As one of Luyu's best friends, Hitsugaya Toshiro's popularity is not low. After all, he is a genius himself. Some people can't find Luyu, so they choose to talk to Hitsugaya Toshiro to get in touch. It's just by nature that Hitsugaya Toshiro has always been very talkative and has not been very comfortable with these entertainments. However, don't hate it, at least not lonely. Certainly not as comfortable with Luyu and Hinamori Momo. Looking at Luyu's more and more dazzling on the field, Hinamori Momo's face turned red, like drinking fine wine. Luyu is getting better and better. Is it really okay to use sealed state when fighting with the teacher? In addition to being happy, the little girl was still a little worried in her heart. After all, even seeing Luyu defeat a powerful enemy like a god, there is still no way to completely offset the teacher's majesty. There must be no problem. In the end, Hinamori Momo encouraged herself. No matter what, she was always willing to trust Luyu. Over there, Luyu looked at Mr. Shokin, who was serious, and clenched all the things in his hands. He knew that it might be out of curiosity or other reasons, and Shokin wanted to experience his true strength for himself. After all, fighting against the strong is also a hobby of many Shinigami. After all, the battle between Luyu and Tsunayashiro treasures became more and more evil, and Luyu's strength also rose with the tide. If the students at Spiritual Arts Academy were not too conservative, Luyu might have been rumored to have surpassed the captain by now. Mr. Shokin must be very curious about whether his strength has reached the level of a chairperson. Just in order to attract the attention of some people and check in smoothly, Luyu decided to show more strength. Then he should satisfy the curiosity of teacher Eximura. Under the expectant gaze of the students, Luyu and Shokin bowed their heads in salute as usual. When they raised their heads, their expressions became solemn. Without hesitation, Luyu launched the offensive first, and with a flash, he disappeared from everyone's sight immediately. By the time Shengshin Shokin reacted, Luyu had already reached his side and slashed with a knife. What? How can it be so fast? In addition to being shocked, Shengshin Shokin still made the most correct response, and immediately waved the knife to block. What kind of shunpo is this? It's too playful. Chapter 30. After parrying Luyu's slash, Shengshin Shokin did not dare to neglect and looked at Luyu with extremely solemn eyes. Sometimes, at the moment of fighting, you know that some people are better than yourself. Luyu's slashing skills and shunpo are definitely not at the level of ordinary Shinigami. Shunpo is difficult to control because it is too fast, and normal Shinigami will leave room for error when using it. Simply put, they can only move 1 or 2 steps away from the enemy. If it is too far, it will waste the fighter, and if it is too close, it is difficult to grasp the shot space, and it is not easy to adjust. After all, shunpo can be detected to the spot, and if it is too close, it will be too late to hide. Of course, the main reason is to make better moves. The moves after shunpo are extremely difficult to control and require such an adjustment time. In the perception of Shengshin Shokin, Shinigami shunpo always has to make some adjustments before he can shoot, just like he has to twist twice after urinating. This is common sense. However, when it came to Luyu, not only did shunpo get to the closest distance, but the key was that they shot directly. Incomparably silky and smooth, this combo makes people feel relaxed and happy, and it is very strong. That speed is too fast, and it is close to the reaction limit of Shengshin Shu Village. If it weren't for his experience, he really wouldn't be able to react this time. With one blow, Shengshin Shokin, who was focused on the right, did not launch an offensive blindly. Last time, the confrontation with Luyu was still vivid in my mind. The speed of this kid was too fast, and the speed was the last resort, so he had to stop at rest. Luyu smiled slightly when he saw that his all kinds of things were blocked. As expected, he was a former chairman, with great experience, and it is difficult for normal people to win. In order to show his strength, he deliberately showed extremely smooth shunpo. In fact, it was also a wake-up call for teacher Shokin. If it weren't for this friendly sparring test, Luyu would not have come up to reveal the 4 major skills that are not what they used to be. He only needs to be slow and fast, and make a surprise to gain a great advantage. As long as the space is pulled out, whether it is a sharp kendo or a skilled kido, it can suppress teacher Shokin. But that would not be a good game, and it would be inconvenient to show strength just right. Seeing that teacher Shokin was experienced and took a defensive posture, Luyu was not polite. Sometimes it's not what you want to be able to defend against. Take it up, Mr. Eximura. Instant shadow slash. Seeing that Luyu made another move, Reiatsu, who had been frozen before going up to Shansho village, suddenly burst out. He casts white hits with his left hand, and uses his right hand to block Luyu's rather strange strike again. According to previous experience, Shengshin Shokin is very clear that fighting against speed-type opponents must seize every opportunity. You have to fight when you should, and don't be afraid of being controlled by others because you are passive. It's just that he was a little strange in his heart. Luyu's slashing seemed simple before, but it was grand and flawless. Just looking at the attack with one sword, but it is the next split and then the next, this should not be the best choice. Not good. Suddenly, Hideyama Kamiyama thought of something, and Reiatsu did feel it, but it was too late. At the moment when he turned from stillness into movement and made a quick shot, the battle was over. Sure enough, while blocking the attack, Shangshan Shokun's punch hit Luyu's body firmly. It seemed that he had actually hit the enemy, but he showed a wry smile. You're careless. No, even if you just concentrate and deal with it with all your heart, you won't be able to win. Amid the exclamations of the students, Luyu, who was hit, turned into an afterimage and disappeared. When Luyu appeared again, he had come to Shokun's back, and the cold light in his hand flickered to the point that it was already on Shokun's neck. This is the unique ultimate move Luyu has just developed, Instant Shadow Slash. Among them, the 9 Shadow Sword move, which incorporates Yan Luo's secret scriptures, can be shifted in the moment of being concentrated, directly attacking the enemy's vital points, and it will leave a highly deceptive afterimage illusion in place. I lost. I passed the test perfectly. The experienced Shogun knew what such a killer move meant. He has no chance of winning until he cracks this trick. And for some moves, you only need to watch it once to know that it can't be broken. At this point of AC, there is still Exiamura who has rich combat experience. I have to say that the booklet came too timely, which perfectly made up for Luyu's shortcomings. The B-level reward is also amazing, and it has touched the backbone of a world or even the upper power. With a super soul body and top-level sword intent, what Luyu lacks is a solid kendo theory. That mushroom handbook solves that problem perfectly. After absorbing Isito's combat experience and skills summary, his shunpo is more perfect and silky. Combining the sword moves and sword intent of Yanluo's secret tome, and Isito's slashing skills, he developed a powerful killing move like Instant Shadow Slash. According to the rating mechanism of the Super Punch card system, Luyu estimated that this was at least an A-level killer move. Moreover, this is his own tinkering, and it is the most suitable for himself. With this ultimate move, Luyu is a real killer of the same level. His beheading technique was very sharp before, but he could still dodge it. With Instant Shadow Slash, it's different. The opponent is not attacking, neither is defending, and shunpo can't compare, so it's very uncomfortable. On the assessment stage, looking at the smiling Luyu, Shangshan Shokun sighed, I'm afraid I won't even have the qualifications to fight with him in the future. Orihara, we succeeded. Shangshan Shokun has the level of the last seed officer, and Luyu surpassed this strength. Although it is incredible, it is indeed a fact. This is not the first time he has felt what it feels like to be surpassed by students, but it will not make him uncomfortable, on the contrary, it will make him very happy. The friend of Shangshan Shokun before went to a dangerous place to improve his strength because he was obsessed with becoming a Shinigami, and he suffered misfortune. At that time, Shangshan Shokun had already become the chairman of the 10th Division. After the tragedy, he deeply regretted that after becoming Shinigami, he had estranged his friend who never graduated from Spiritual Arts Academy. After that, Shangshan Shokun chose to become a kendo teacher at Spiritual Arts Academy, hoping to help other students like friends. The happiest thing for him is to see his students go above and beyond. This is redemption and mission. This class of students is the best class he has ever brought. In the early days, Shangshan Shokun was sure that neither Luyu nor Hitsugaya Toshiro could easily surpass himself. It's just that he didn't expect this day to come so soon. The crowd next to them were fascinated and sighed in their hearts, my classmate is like a god of war. Abarai Renji's eyes lit up, and his heart was unspeakable. Such power, such talent. That's the kind of fight I want to see, to have that kind of innate power to surpass that man. Hinamori Momo's face was flushed, and his eyes were shining brightly at Luyu on the stage. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.